Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I'm looking a little extra damp today. if you were at the game today, you'll know exactly why I look soaking wet. The rain is pushing down, but we're back. Celtic 2, FERENCVAROS 0. The Europa League half-free Tuesday kick-off went down an absolute treat, to say the least. I'm buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing. And look, today Celtic were absolutely fantastic. Let's just cut right to the chase. Today, from start to finish, superb. I said in my match preview that all I wanted today was a performance from start to finish that gave us a bit of reassurance, a bit of quality, and a bit of optimism moving forward. And it showed real progression on a European stage. Now, I know FERENCVAROS aren't exactly world beaters. I'm not going to come out here and claim that we played the best team in Europe or nothing like that. Of course not. FERENCVAROS is a team that, ideally on paper, Celtic should be beating. But the performance from start to finish today was absolutely tremendous from Celtic. And I honestly couldn't take any negatives away from it. I could sit here and usually I talk positively and I give a wee bit, oh, this was dodgy. But I didn't see that today. I didn't see that at all in Celtic. And they rose to the occasion. It was fantastic. And it does assure you, the assurance that I wanted was there. And it kind of gives you that sort of, that feeling that Ange is truly building something special. And look, it could go either way. You never know. I could say that, and then by the end of the season, we could be fuck knows where. But I feel like Ange is truly building something special off the back of that performance. It is a win. I'm happy about that. I mean, where do you even begin? Let's go back to before kickoff. Team selection I thought was spot on. It was pretty much what I expected. If you watched the preview, you would have seen that I thought Scales might have started today instead of Bolingoli, who's unregistered. Monty came back in. I didn't think Monty had the greatest of games, but he done a job, and I want to talk about that back line. I thought the back line were absolutely superb today. A real kind of solid performance from each and every one of them in one way or another. Ralston and Montgomery definitely still showing that rawness and showing that kind of side of their game that maybe European football is a step too high for them, but they rose to it and they gave the best they could. Ralston making a couple of world-class interceptions at points, in fact. I mean, I couldn't sit here and give the credit to Starfelt and Carter Vickers without saying to Ralston, look, when we came off the back, I think, of scoring the first goal, Ralston tracked away back and stopped them from equalising straight away. It was absolutely superb from Ralston. But those two in particular, Starfelt and Carter Vickers, I thought they were tremendous today. Such a level above the performances I think we've seen so far against high quality opposition. Look, it's all very well and good saying that Starfelt and Carter Vickers performed well against your Aberdeens and your Motherwells. What you need to see from centre-halves is performances in the big games, because Celtic have lacked that for so long. You know, we've struggled at the back, we've struggled to deal with set pieces, we've struggled to deal with crosses, we've struggled to deal with balls in behind, but I thought today both Carter Vickers and Starfelt put in performances that suggest to me that they're quality players. You know, they're players that are going to grow and grow and grow in Celtic jerseys. And it makes the conversation difficult for how Julien comes back into the team at the end of the day. You know, Julien comes back, he's got to take one of their spaces, but off of that performance today from both of those centre-halves, you know, you're raising the eyebrows and you're going, well, who does he replace? Because both of them I thought were tremendous, and especially Carl Starfelt. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. At that one error towards the end of the game, it was funny because I tweeted and I was like, oh, Carl Starfelt's solid. Then literally 30 seconds later, he's given the ball away to the opposition almost. It was a bit of a dodgy moment, but you take that moment out of his game, which is stereotypical of a Celtic defence. I thought he was tremendous, and Carter Vickers was solid too, and it's a real credit to them because there's been so many questions raised about those players' performances and how good they are and if they're good enough to play at centre-half for Celtic. Today on a European stage, I thought they rose to the occasion incredibly well. Let's try and talk about, and this isn't going to be one of those free things we learn video, because honestly I thought we were just tremendous. I want to just talk about the game in general. The first half performance I thought was good. It lacked a bit of something. It was good. We controlled the ball, we controlled the possession, but what we really needed to do was unlock them. And what we had to do was be a bit more creative in that final third. But at the same time, I felt it coming. I don't know if you'd necessarily agree with me when I say that, but although we're drawing 0-0 at half-time and those European games allow the sort of wiggle room for the opposition to get into it in the second half, when the half-time whistle did go, all I sort of felt was, no, in the second half I can see this going our way. There was a real sort of urgency around Celtic, I thought, that hasn't been there in previous times. And even in league games, I thought, you know, half-time you go in 0-0, sometimes you're thinking, oh Christ, this isn't going to go our way. When we were drawing with Dundee United and all the rest of it, I didn't see it going our way. But when we went into half-time in this game in particular, I just felt there was something there. And then bang, when you get into that second half, you see it. And that first goal is tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. Kyogo Furuhashi, I would give up my entire life for him. Kyogo Furuhashi, your wish is my command. I'll do anything you want, my man. I love him. And the touch leading up to that goal it's second to none. It's sort of Lionel Messi stuff that Kyogo does there. And before Rangers fans try and accuse me of comparing Kyogo Furuhashi with Lionel Messi, of course I'm comparing Kyogo Furuhashi with Lionel Messi because he's tremendous. He's been in this country 3 months and he's already up there for the conversation of best in the country. That sort of goal today, that touch to the goal, is everything he was brought in for. And Jota does tremendously up to Jota and Kyogo are just growing and growing and growing, and I love the pair of them. I love them with all my heart. And Kyogo's goal is tremendous. And when you get that goal, you're sort of thinking to yourself, right, let's keep this going. As I said earlier in the video, Ralston does tremendous on that moment of kind of madness where they could have went up and scored. But straight from that moment, once again, Celtic are in control of the game. And that is what we needed, because there's been so many times, and this is where the growth in European football comes in. This is where it's sort of the improvement I see comes in. From Ange Postecoglou this season to Neil Lennon last season, the game management was there today. And that comes down to how we played, that comes down to how we defended our lead, and that comes down to every substitution that was made today from Ange Postecoglou. The game management was spot on. And there's been a few times this season where I have questioned the game management. There's been a few times where I've sat there and I've went, okay, Ange's game management is a little bit concerning. There's moments he should have done this, there's moments that he should have took off such and such, and he hasn't done it. So today, from we got that first goal, I thought the game management was spot on. Beaton, for as much criticism as I gave him, was the right substitute to make. Giakoumakis turned out to be a great substitution as well. Even Mikey Johnson coming in the part was a great substitution. And Liam Scales was a great substitution. The game management for me was spot on. And that's great. We're growing in that aspect of things too. The manager as well as the team is growing into it. This is a first time experience for Ange Postecoglou in terms of European football. He's got to grow, he's got to learn just as much as the younger guys in the team and the new guys to the team have got to. And Ange has shown that. So he got that, he made the subs, we looked great, we miss a penalty, which is, it's annoying because you miss that penalty and the first thing that comes to your head, and this is where I'm sure you'll agree with me here, when you miss that penalty, you start thinking to yourself, stereotypical Celtic, we're going to cock this up somehow, we've missed a penalty, FERENCVAROS are going to get back into the game, but no, that's not how it went. Celtic missed the penalty, but they kept their heads up, the heads didn't drop, and we kept going. And I think that's something that's been sort of driven into the team since day one of Ange Postecoglou walking through the door. We've seen it in that video, the video of we don't give up, we never give up. We give up, if the opposition give up, then that's good for us. That was the video, remember? And today, we missed the penalty, and it's very easy for your head to drop at that point, but we kept going, we kept fighting, and little things lead to a second goal. And you're 2-0 up in Europe at home and you're fine. And there you go, 3 points through the door with it. I think that there's not one negative performance in the park today to talk about. I'd feel incredibly harsh if I was to say that anybody wasn't performing to a required level today. Even if there was a couple of dodgy moments for certain players, over the course of the 90, I thought we've seen a real great team performance. I thought we've seen real great individual performances. The midfield as well performed well when there's been questions asked of them, particularly by myself. Ultimately, I was very impressed from what I've seen today, and that's what matters. And I'm chuffed we've got the 3 points to the board. I think that FERENCVAROS showed today it's a team we're capable of beating when we go away from home now. We can go away to Hungary and we can get 3 points against them. We really can. And I'm not going to get too optimistic. I'm not going to get overhyped about it because ultimately it's going to still be a difficult game. But there's no reason we can't go into that game believing. There's no reason we can't go into that game knowing that we have the quality and the talents to beat them. It's there. We know it's there. And hopefully we get that because the Europa League isn't out of the question now. It was massive that we got the 3 points today. It was of mass importance and we delivered on that. So now we deliver away from home and I honestly believe we can do that. I really do. Anyway, that brings me to the end. Look, I'm just buzzing about the 3 points. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to enjoy myself now. I'm going to try and get through the next few hours without getting too ahead of myself, as impossible as that may be. And I'm going to look ahead to the St Johnstone game at the weekend knowing that we have a quality side that can beat them. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm buzzing. If you can't tell, I've had a drink. I'll leave it to this point in the video and saying, yes, I've had a drink. I've had a few drinks. And ultimately, I'm just buzzing about that. So like and subscribe. I'll see y'all next time.